Hello, this is Martin Anderson speaking. I'm the designer of the Fetterman Fight, or 100 in the Hands. This video shows several tactical tips on how to play the game. So let's get started. The counters for each situation are set up on the map. The first is a US move away. As only mounted Sioux groups adjacent to a US group can fire at the beginning of the Sioux turn, in the previous US player turn, they can avoid casualties by simply moving out of contact, like so. So, the US player can avoid or reduce casualties by moving. The second situation is an example of Sioux fire. Here, an adjacent mounted Sioux group fires on Cavalry Group 2, which has 10 targets. On a D6, 4 is rolled, which is halved for firing on a mounted group, producing 2 hits. Using the casualty track, place a trooper in each odd position and a horse in the even positions. Then roll a D10. On rolls of 1 and 6, the first trooper is killed and is replaced with a dead counter, and the horse in position 6 is flipped to its dead side. Replace these 2 mounted troopers on the board. Replace the Group 2 counter with the Group 2 troopers on the board. The third is an example of US split fire. Here, 3 mounted Sioux groups are adjacent to Infantry Group 1, which has 10 infantry. In the fire phase of the US player's turn, the US player splits the fire 4, 3, and 3. So on rolls 1 through 5, 1 through 4, and 1 through 4 on a D6, they will succeed in driving off the Sioux. On rolls of 2, 4, and 5, 2 succeed and 1 fails. So these 2 groups are moved away. This group remains in place. The fourth is an example of a Sioux mounted group moving on to a cavalry group. See Rule 7.2. They then melee the group in the melee phase. The Sioux player rolls a 3 on a D6. The result is halved as against mounted targets and rounded down to 1. On a random roll on a D10 of 6, the third horse is killed, so the mounted counter is replaced with a dismounted trooper and a dead horse. The fifth situation is an example of US cavalry dismounting, which takes an entire US move. A group of 5 mounted cavalry dismount and are flipped to their dismounted side. Five dismounted horses are also placed in the hex. The US player thinks they may need to mount again, so decides not to shoot the horses and instead places 5 horses underneath 1 trooper as a horse holder. If there was a Sioux counter in the hex, it would be moved off. The sixth is an example of how Sioux melee infantry or dismounted troopers. See Rules 6.6 and 7.4. A mounted group of Sioux is adjacent to 10 infantry and does not fire on them. At the end of the Sioux fire phase, it is flipped to its dismounted side. In the movement phase, it moves on to the infantry group. In the melee phase, it melees the infantry. The Sioux player rolls a 3 on a d6 for 3 hits. On rolls of 4, 6, and 4, the infantry in positions 4 and 6 are killed and flipped to their dead side. The second 4 is a double hit and is disregarded. The dismounted Sioux group is then moved off the infantry group into an adjacent hex. Next, we'll see how warriors work. At the beginning of the Sioux movement phase, there are 2 targets for warriors, 1 dismounted horse and 1 dismounted trooper within range. In the movement phase, 1 warrior is placed on the hex with the dismounted horse and captures it. The 2 warriors are placed on the Sioux group within range. The horse in front of the Sioux player is placed in front of the Sioux player for possible victory conditions, and the warriors return to the holding box. The other warrior is placed on the hex with the dismounted trooper and melees him in the melee phase. Each side rolls 1d6. The high roll wins. The U.S. player wins ties. If the Sioux player won, the trooper would be flipped to their dead side. In either case, the warriors return to the holding boxes. Finally, we'll give an example of flight. Here, a group of 5 U.S. infantry are 4 hexes from the exit hex. 4 fire to open a hole in the Sioux line. On a roll of 3, they succeed. One of the remaining soldiers is replaced with a flight counter and darts through the hole, moving 2 hexes on its first flight move. On the next Sioux turn, a warrior is created and placed on a Sioux counter and moved on to the hex with the soldier in flight and melees him. A -1 DRM applies to the U.S. soldier's melee roll as he is in flight. The U.S. player's roll of 4 becomes a 3. On a roll of 4, the Sioux player wins, and the flight counter is replaced with a dead counter. The soldier's brief glimpse of freedom ends. Hopefully this video and demonstration of tactical moves has been of help for you in playing the game. Thanks.